Hey everyone, I'm Neil with NeilSarap Barbecue, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how I like to slice, season, and prepare picanha steak for rotisserie. I'd also like to do an experiment on the best way to slice picanha for grilling on a skewer or spit rod for a rotisserie. Alright, so we're going to get into the cutting here, so I'm going to get this out of the packaging. Alright, so this is our fat cap, the top of the sirloin cap. And this is the underside of the steak. And I don't know if you can see this, but this is the direction that the muscle fibers are running in. Is anytime you cut a meat, that you're gonna wanna cut it so that whatever the final cut, the cut that you're gonna take, whether it's you're sitting at the table cutting it, or it's cut off the skewer, it's gonna be against the grain. You have to pay attention to the direction that the muscle fibers are running in, because you want to go and cut across that grain. And for doing a skewer, if you're going to do a steak, you're going to go with the grain so that that final cut that you take after you grill the steak, the final cut that you take before you put it in your mouth, before you eat it, is going to be against the grain, and it's going to make it the most tender that it can be. This is not the most tender cut of meat, picanha. So one, it's going to take the right type of cooking. It's not going to, you don't want this to go much over medium rare is what you want this to be at. It's going to be the most tender. You overcook this, you're going to have a tough piece of meat. But at the same time, you also want to finish that cut against the grain. So what we're going to do is, since the grain is running in this direction, we're going to cut this way. And what we want to do is, for a skewer, we want to cut about 3 fingers apart, right about there. We'll just square this up just a little bit. So let me explain that now. These muscle fibers are now going in this direction. So when you curl this up on a skewer like that, now the muscle fibers are in that direction. So when you slice off the side of this cap, you're going to be going against the grain, and that final piece is going to be the most tender. So we don't necessarily, you don't want to really get rid of much of this fat, but you don't want it to have too much fat. So you just, use your judgment on it, but you really want, this fat is really delicious, and it's why this picanha is so prized. If you take this fat cap off, you pretty much have a sirloin steak, top sirloin, and it's just not the same. So you just take a little bit off just to trim it up. So we have one here. What I'm going to do first, so we have something to experiment with, is I'm going to take one and cut it in the direction that you would take if you're going to actually put this on the grill and just cook it like a regular steak. So I'm going to cut this one here. It's going to be a little bit more narrow. So you can see that the muscle fibers are going the direction of this cut, so that when you're going to cut this to serve, you're going to cut it this way against the grain for the final cut, every single cut. So we have this one. This is going to be our experimental piece. And when we slice this off, you'll see it. You'll always see, when you see somebody cooking a picanha, in my opinion now, is that this is not the right way to slice a picanha. When you see it on the skewer, you actually see the muscle fibers making that circle there. I don't believe that's the proper way to do it, but we're going to find out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to season these up and do what's called a dry brine. So I'm going to put this on a wire rack over a pan and put it right in the refrigerator uncovered, so that the air will circulate around it and help dry out the meat in the refrigerator. It's going to let the salts that are in the seasonings penetrate down into the meat, and it's going to bring out some of the moisture in the meat, which is going to bring out and make this more flavorful. So with these 3 cuts here, our experiment, And these other two here, I'm going to use my Tasty Sear Gourmet. And with these other two, I'm going to use my Tasty Sear Southwest. So we're going to get nice generous seasoning on here. We're going to take our other two steaks and do them with my Southwest Tasty Sear. So here we are. We have these ready to go in the fridge, and I'm going to take these in the fridge for just a few hours is all that's necessary, but I'm just going to go ahead and do these overnight. And then we're going to get these on the grill and get them all skewered up tomorrow. So we'll see you then. All right, we're gonna get our Oven Brothers original joint rotisserie lit here. All right, that'll do it. Once this thing gets up to temperature, we'll get our steaks on the spit and be all set. We're back, and we have our charcoal rotisserie getting warmed up now, and we just pulled these steaks out about maybe 20 minutes ago. Start getting them up to room temperature. You can see that they're looking really good, nice and dark. When you dry what happens really brings out some of that color. They smell good, and we haven't even started to cook them yet. So we've got our spit rod here. This is a vertical rotisserie catch basin for any drippings, and we're going to go ahead and get these skewered up now. And what we want to do is wrap them like this and put them on our skewer. This is our steak. This third one up is going to be our steak that we cut backwards. We cut the wrong direction as far as I'm concerned. We're going to put this on, do our little experiment. So remember, that's the one we're testing is this third one. The muscle grain is going in this direction, whereas on these two, the grain is going side to side, so that when we slice this, it's going to be against the grain, and when we slice this one, it's going to be with the grain. So you'll see that once we get into slicing that. And we're going to put these are our Southwest. We'll just put these on top. So we're ready to go. We're gonna go get this on our charcoal rotisserie and get them fired up. All right, so we're gonna get this installed on the Oven Brothers original joint rotisserie. Get our rotisserie turned on, and we're gonna let the magic happen. All right, looks like we're just about ready here. I'll go ahead and take a slice off of this one. All right, so here's the result. of our experiment. So as you can see, the muscle fibers going in this direction. Significant amount of pull there. This is where the muscle fibers are going short ways. You can already see a major difference, and that's a lot thicker too. So I think the best way is what I thought, our final. I think any way you slice it, picanha is excellent. Slice it however you like. However, I will be slicing against the grain if I'm going to do a rotisserie. So good. This is how I like my picanha. So tender. That seasoning, this is the Southwest. It's just fantastic. So I thank you all for watching through to the end of this, and I hope you will join me on my next videos. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll see you soon.